Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel ServiceNow Universe. Hope you all are doing well. This video is a must watch because we will dive into some common mistakes made during integration configuration and provide effective solutions to overcome them. Okay, we'll go through the first mistake that we do is there is no way to stop the integration. Now the question comes why we need to stop the integration. So we'll discuss that now. Okay, now assume for example we'll be configuring this integration from ServiceNow instance to the third party application and we'll do a development in our dev ServiceNow instance and we'll connect that with the dev instance of the third party application. Okay, now everything is working fine. We'll move this application to the prod. Okay, now when we move to ServiceNow prod, we'll be definitely connecting with the prod of the third party application. Now, if we get any issue in the production because of the data in the prod third party application, then we need to stop the integration, but there is no way to stop the integration. So the integration will work with the wrong data and it will create the wrong records in either third party application or in the ServiceNow instance. So for that, we need to have some checkbox to stop the integration. Okay. This may be the first reason, but the second reason can be like there is any, for example, in the production if the third party application is going through some maintenance and they are asking to stop the integration for some time, then we don't have any way to stop it. We'll go to the schedule jobs, we'll go to the business rules and deactivate them. So we don't want to do that. So we should have one checkbox. If we uncheck that, like if we make that active false, then the integration should stop. Okay, now let's see how we can do that in a ServiceNow instance. We'll go to the properties and we'll create a new property called activate integration. Okay, I'll give some description. Activate integration. Okay, and this should be of type true or false, and I'll keep the value as true for now. Okay, and there is one more best practice, that is to add the property page and show that as a module here, so that we can directly go to that property, that module, and open the property page and check or uncheck the value of this property there itself. Okay, the user should not come here to add true or false here. So what we'll do is we'll create a property page. For that I need to create a new category. Okay, I'll create a new category and I'll say that as integration properties. Okay, and I'll just save this. Okay, now this is our property that is added directly here. So I'll add two more new properties, that is the username and password, which we created in our last video. So if you have not watched that video, then please go and watch that. Okay, now I'll just save this. Okay, now if I click on try it, then it will show me the property page here. For some reason it is not showing the properties here, so let me just change. The name might be integration properties is already used, so I'll just say custom integration properties. Okay, now I'll click on try it. Okay, now we can see property page here. Okay, now we'll copy this URL. Okay, okay, we'll create the application menu first and then we'll create a module under that and we'll add the property page there. Okay, so I'll just create a new application menu. So we can give it a name, like if you are doing Jira integration, then we can give it as Jira integration, but we are doing custom, we'll give that as custom integration now. Okay, I'll just save this and I'll create a new module. Okay, then I'll give that as properties. The module name is properties. Give it any order because we'll be having only one now. So in the link type we'll go and we'll say that as URL. Okay, and we'll add the URL. Okay, we should not add the instance name here, we should copy it from the slash and then we'll add this here. Okay, then I'll just submit this. Okay, and we'll go back and here we'll use the use of this service nodes, then I do refresh menu items. So I'll just refresh this. Okay, we don't need to refresh the page, we'll just refresh the menu items. Now I'll just type in here custom integration, so we can see the custom integration here. Under that we have the properties. Now we can come here and activate or deactivate. Okay, and we can give the username and password here. Okay, if I right click on this, then we get option to edit the property. So here there is no description, that's why it's not visible there. So I'll give username and I'll just add property, that is password here in the description, password. So now we can see the page looks like this. Okay, if you want more properties, then we'll add those properties here later. Okay, now we'll use of this property. Okay, so now let me just go to schedule jobs. For example, if we are creating a schedule job to trigger the integration, then how we will use that in the schedule job. Okay, let's see. I'll remove this. Okay, now if we are creating a new schedule job, then let me just copy the name of this. So I'll just click on edit property, and this is the name. Okay, now I'll create a new schedule job. Okay, now here we'll use this conditional checkbox. So if I do that, okay, then I get the option to write the condition here. Here I'll just simply write gs.get property, and I'll add that property, and if that is equal to true, then only will trigger the schedule job. Okay, so this is how we'll add it to the schedule script, and we can add that to business rules as well. So basically, from wherever we are triggering the integration, we'll just go and add there. Okay, so I'll just open the business rules, and in our last video we have created these two business rules, so we can just open that, and I'll just copy this property, and I'll add that to the condition in the business rule as well. Okay, so I'll add that here. So all the business rule, all the schedule jobs, everything will be triggered when this activate integration is true. If that is false, then it will not trigger. Okay, and if someone asks us to stop the integration at any moment, it's because of any reason or it's because of maintenance, then we'll simply come here and we'll go to the property page, and then we'll simply uncheck this and click on save. Okay, now the integration, whole integration is stopped with this only one property. This is the best practice. Okay, now this is when we are doing the outbound integration. Okay, but if we are doing inbound integration, then we have created a scripted REST API in our last video. So what we'll do is we need to send a proper error message. Okay, we created Postman API. Okay, this was in some application, so I'll just simply open this. Okay, I'll just do click here. Just for an example, I'll just show what error message we can send. Okay, so before proceeding, so what I'll do is I'll add one if condition here. If this property is false, okay, then we'll send the error here. Okay, and we have seen how to send the error. So it's like this. Okay, the status code can be anything. For example, that may be a bad request, so I think it is 400. So you can check in the http status codes, and we'll send the proper error message here. Integration is deactivated in ServiceNow. Please contact ServiceNow administrator, for example. This can be a proper message. Now when they try to connect to ServiceNow, they get this error message back, then they'll contact the administrator, and the administrator will come back here and activate the integration. Okay, so this is how we can use the activate integration property to activate or deactivate the integration. Okay, now we'll discuss our second best practice, that is not to include the base URL here in the endpoint, either in the script or in the REST message. If we go to the REST message, let me just go here. Okay, we created this REST message. Okay, and here we use this get incidents. Okay, and we have included the base URL here. Okay, so we should not include the base URL either in the script or in the REST message. We should add that to the property page. Okay, now how we'll do that? Again, we'll create a new property. We'll call that as API base URL. Okay, it should be API base URL. Okay, and I'll just save this. Okay, now I'll add that to this category. Okay, in the system properties we have the categories, so I'll just open that, and I need to find custom integration properties, so we have that here. I'll just open that. Okay, and we'll add our API base URL here. API base URL, and we'll add that as a second one, okay, before the username and password. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, now we have the base URL here. So what I'll do is, let me just remove these all. Okay, now from here I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll just cut this basically and add it to the property here. Okay, I'll just save this. Okay, and I'll go here and I'll replace this with like how we are using this placeholder. So same way we'll use the placeholder here. Okay, dollar and then base URL. Okay, now this can be replaced with the set string parameter in the string that we have seen already in our first video in the outbound integration. So you can just check that. Okay, and in the business rule, what we'll do is we'll just remove this and we'll add gs dot get property, and the property name is api dot base dot url. Okay, and then we'll simply do it like this. Now what is the use of this is, if you want to connect to a different instance, then we don't need to go and change the rest message or change the script. We can directly go here and change uh, the instance. Okay, and just then I will just save this, and this will be applied to everywhere wherever we are using the base url. Okay. Okay, our next best practice is to include the page limit in the property page. Okay, and to have the pagination already. So we have created a video, a dedicated video on pagination. That is our second video in the integration series. Please go and watch that. That is very very important video because we cannot get the data in one go from the target table. For example, if there are 1,000 records and we are trying to get the 1,000 records in one go, then that may degrade the performance of the instance. So we need to include the pagination in our integration. Okay, so in this video we have seen both on the front end and in the back end integration, we have done the pagination, so you can go and watch that video as well. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, and now here we are using the page size c.data.page size, and we have defined that on the server side here c.data.page size, and that is hard coded now, that is 10. Okay, now this should come from the property. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll add one more property for that. Let's say page size. Okay, let's say integration page size, and I'll keep that as string or integer and then 10. Okay, and wherever we use do the integration, we'll use this property to get the value. Okay, gs dot get property, and then we'll use this property. Okay, now we can change the page size here. We don't need to go to each script and change the page size. We'll just simply change the page size here. Okay, now here we can add it to the category. Okay, I'll just select custom integrations property and I'll just save this. Okay, yeah, and the order is 10 here, so 100 here. We'll change the order to 600 because we want that at the end here. Okay, okay, now we have the page size here. Okay, now we can change the page from the property page. Okay, the next common mistake is to ignore the error handling and logging. So when the integration is failing, we don't have anything to handle that failure, and we should have the proper logging to understand the failure and fix that. This happens when in dev instance, when we are doing the configuration, so everything is working fine. We are getting the success all the time. We don't get the error message, and when we move to production, we start getting the errors. So we don't have error handling here. So that may lead to the data loss or performance issues. Because we have not handled the errors, so we should have proper error handling and logging. Okay, now let's see how we can do that in ServiceNow instance. Okay, the first thing to handle the errors is to include the integration code in the try and catch. Then we get some error here. If there is anything, then we should log that. So for that, what we'll do is gs.error, and we should have proper error here. So I'll say error in custom integration. Okay, if it is a Jira integration, then I'll do error in Jira integration. Okay, then I'll just print that message. Okay, okay, now in the integration, if everything is success, then we are doing this. If it is failure, then we'll say else, then we'll just do gs dot error. Okay, and then again we'll do this error in the custom integration. Yeah, now we may be receiving some error in the response body. Okay, so we'll add that here. Okay, so if as response body direct itself is containing the error, then we'll add that here. If there is any object, then we'll parse that first and then add it here. Okay, so this is how we can add the logs to understand, and we can go to the whenever there is failure, then we can go to the system logs and check if there is anything with error in custom integration. If there is, then we have the error message here, then we can perform the fix for that. Okay, now the second best practice which we can do in error handling is to add the retry count. So how many times we need to retry once if the integration fails. So we'll add a property again here. Okay, I'll say retry count, and this can be the integer. Okay, I'll say try 3 times when the integration fails. Okay, now we'll add this also to the property page. I'll just go here and I'll select custom integration properties. I'll just save this and I'll just change the order. Okay, now I'll just go back and refresh this. No, we need to try it 3 times. If you want it to 5 times, then I can simply change it here. Okay. Now we need to use this in the script. For example, I'll just go here to business rule. So wherever you are calling the integration, basically you should have only one function that calls the integration. For example, I'll just create one script include. Let me just go here. Script include. Okay, I'll create a new one. Integration util. Okay, then we should have one function here called call API. Okay, and this only one function should trigger the API. Okay, we should not call the API in multiple places. For example, in this business rule also I'm calling this REST message v2, and in other business rule also I'm calling, in the schedule job also I'm calling. So in different places I'm calling multiple APIs, so we should not do like that. We should have that in one place. For example, I'll just copy this code. Okay, and I'll put it here in the call API. Okay, and if we are using the REST message, then we need to pass the REST message here, right? So for that we can have some properties here. Okay, we can send the REST message name, and then we can use that REST message name here. Okay, when we have the REST message, we don't want to do this, so we can just have some condition here. When the REST message name is present, then we don't need to do this. Okay, so it is basically the customization we need to do, but here we are adding that to the endpoint, so we'll do it like this. Okay, so we are calling the API from here. Now what I'll do is I'll just go and uh, let me just go here. Okay, I'll do new uh, integration util and dot in this function call API. Okay, call API, and I think I need to pass request body to it. Okay, yeah, now this all you can pass request body, we can pass, and we can pass the method as well, that is post, and this all things we can pass from here. Okay, so let me just save this. Okay, now we have the code, and what we are passing is the request body and the method, right? Method. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll simply change this method here. Okay, so it should be a put method, not post. Okay, so we can do that customization based on our requirement. Okay, okay, now we have that here method, and if this is get method, then we definitely don't want request body. So what I can do is I'll just simply say if request body is present, then only add the request body here, otherwise don't add. Okay, Okay, now i'll I did it like this. Okay, so there is only one function we need to use everywhere to call the integration. We should not have this code in the multiple places. Okay, so that way if there is any issue, then we can simply come here and fix that. We don't need to search in multiple places. Okay, and now when the integration fails, if integration works, then this is there. If integration fails, then we need to try it for 3 times, right? Because we have this retry count here. Okay, so what we can do is we can pass the count as well here. Okay, I'll say 0. Okay, this is 0 because we have not tried it, uh, right? So I'll say 0, and I'll just add that as well here. That is retry count. Okay, how many times we have tried? We have tried it 0 times. Okay, now I'll just increment it to 1 when we when it is failed. Okay, now let me just retry count plus plus. Okay, now this is increased to 1. Now what I'll do is I'll call uh, the property gs.get property, that is the retry count property. Retry dot count this property, and how much we have 3. We have the value that is 3. Retry count. Okay, if that is greater than the retry count. Okay, so this retry count, when we call it for first time, it is 0 when we send it from here. Okay, then when it comes here, when it fails for first time, then retry count will become 1. Okay, now we have 3 in this retry count in this property. So let me just do it like this. Okay, we have 3 here. Okay, so we have 3 in the system property, and this retry count is 1, so that is less. So what we'll do, and this should be greater than or equal. If it is 3, then also we need to do the call. Okay, so what we'll do, we need to call the API again. So what I'll do, this dot call API, and again we'll call that request body, and we have the method. Okay, okay, now this time when we are calling the API, retry count is already 1. So now when if this fails for the second time, this becomes 2, and 3 is greater than or equal to 2. Yes, then it tries one more time. If on the third time this becomes 3, now 3 is greater than or equal to 3. Yes, it will try for 3 times, and fourth time when this becomes 4, this will stop. Okay, this will not call it again. That time what we'll do is else will print the error. Okay, I'll just print this error. Control Z, and I'll do this. Okay, try it for 3 times, and if that fails after that as well, then log the error. Okay. Okay, now the next common mistake is the performance issue due to inefficient scripts and queries. Okay, now the example for the inefficient script can be using the glide record to get the row count. For example, glide record and using get row count function to get the row count instead of using glide aggregate. Okay, glide to get the row count. ServiceNow does not recommend to use the glide records get row count function. ServiceNow recommend is the glide aggregate function. Okay, if there is big table with more data, then to get the count, we should use glide aggregate. That will improve the performance. If you use glide record get row count function, that will hamper the performance. Okay, now the next mistake is the validation failures. We'll see the validation failures in our example from the inbound integrations. Okay, here in our get count example, we have added the validation here. If the table exists, then send the response body. If table does not exist, then send the error message. Okay, so if we don't have this validation, for example, let me just remove this. Okay, and I'll just save this. Okay, now let's go to the post. Okay, now we are sending here, we are calling this API, we are sending incident table, and if we click on send, then we are getting the proper response here. This is the success case. Okay, and if we send the wrong data, then we don't have the validation there for this wrong data. If I send this, then we should get some error here because it tries to get the data from the empty table. Or for example, if I send some wrong table name here, then it tries to get the data from the this wrong table, and it gives us the error, script error here. Okay, and this is not proper error, right? So we should handle the data which is sent by the request. Okay, that is the request body, okay, or query param or path param. Anyhow, we are getting the data in the scripted REST API, so we should handle the we should validate the data first, and then we should send the response back. Okay, if there is error in the validation, then send the proper error message back. Okay. Okay, now I'll go back to the instance and add this validation. I'll check if the table exists or not. If the table exists, then send the data back. If table does not exist, then send the proper error message, that is table not found. Okay, so I'll just save this. Now let's go back to the Postman and see. Okay, now there is a wrong table here as we are handling this validation here. So let me just click on send now. So we should get now we have a proper message here that this table name is wrong. Okay, now if I send the correct table name, then it gets the data here. So this is how we need to validate the request body or the path param or the query param which we are receiving in the API. Okay. Okay, now we'll discuss the last and the very important mistake, that is neglecting the integration maintenance and monitoring. We treat the integrations as set it and forget it without proper monitoring and maintenance, leading to unaddressed issues. So the solution for this is to regularly monitor the integration performance and error logs. We have already added the error logs, so we need to monitor this. If there is any failure, then we need to fix that to stop the performance degradation. This is all about the common mistakes and best practices for the integration. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, then please hit the thumb icon and share the video with your friends, and add your valuable suggestions to the comment, and subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Thank you.